Well, hey y'all, and good morning. Happy Tuesday. My name is Alicia. This is the Fanciful Flamingo flosstube channel. If this is your first time because you've stumbled across or I've been recommended to you, welcome. I'm so glad that you took a moment to stop and check me out. And if you're coming back, friends, hey, I know I didn't film last Tuesday, and I am sorry. Life has just kind of gotten away from me, and I don't like that feeling. But this is a channel primarily about cross stitch, but we do a fish tank update a week now, and we have prayer and praise and just chit chat. So sit back, grab a drink, and sit a while. Whew. Every month seems to get busier and busier and fly by faster and faster. I would like to say that this past weekend was Mother's Day, and if we're here, we've all had a mother. I don't know much about biology, but I know that. Or is that anatomy or physiology? It's a science. And like I said on my little floss tube a day Friday, mothers come in all shapes and sizes. We are fur baby mommies. We are adopted mommies that are mommies. We are step mommies. My sister-in-law, one of my sister-in-laws doesn't have children of her own per se, but she sure has been a great mama to all of her nieces and nephews, including my children. So I hope it was a fabulous weekend. I had wanted a quiet weekend, and it kind of sort of didn't turn out that way. But we'll get into that more in a minute. We haven't added any new fish, but the fish that we have are thriving and growing. Did y'all know fish grew? I mean, I know like fish in the sea grew, but I didn't think aquarium fish grew, but they do. And my son is so happy with his fish tank. He's such a sweetheart. So there is our fish tank update for the last 2 weeks. Again, no new fish added. But the fish tank finally, probably just jinxed that, is doing well. Prayer and praise. Yo, it's just a whole lot of prayer. We have several of our friends here who are going through different cancers and different stages of cancers. That's such an ugly word. But we're going to gather around each other, and we are going to lift each other up, and we are going to raise our voices in prayer so that our friends will at least feel comforted during this time and know that they are not alone. A friend of mine's daughter is waiting on biopsy results, so we are going to pray for good results. My neighbor across the street, Carol, her husband has Parkinson's, and Sunday his legs just stopped working, and she had to call the ambulance, which gave all of us neighbors a scare because we love them both greatly. And he had surgery on his back yesterday. We won't know for a few days if he will be able to get any feeling back in his legs, but she is just beside herself. And so I would ask you to keep my neighbor Carol and her husband in your prayers, and their dog Cookie, who is like their baby. I told y'all yesterday my son was playing pickleball Saturday and fell. I was a spectator in pickleball, because let me explain to you how I play tennis and pickleball and all sports. If you hit the ball and it comes to me, I shall return said ball. If you hit the ball and it does not come to me, I am going to assume that that ball does not want to be returned, and I'm just going to let it go on its merry way. My husband and children will go after the ball like the fate of the world depends on that ball not touching the ground. And the ball did not touch the ground. The ball was actually returned to the other court. My son, however, touched the ground with almost every part of his body. He did. I'm not gonna lie. I was so shaken that I got sick to my stomach. There wasn't much of him that didn't have a scrape or a scratch on him, which just made him so popular at school yesterday. But he did, as we all do, try to break his fall and hurt his wrist. And it is in a brace right now. But I'm just going to share this little secret with y'all. And I know this is a cross-stitch channel. We're 5 minutes into it, but I'll get there. So I brought him home, and his dad and his sister stayed to continue the game. And he did not feel good in the car. He kept laying his head down. I kept trying to keep him awake because he didn't think he'd hit his head, and he didn't have any scratches on his head, but he wasn't acting 100%. And he kept saying he was tired. And I don't know if that was just the adrenaline rush of after. Anyway, so we get home, and he's on the sofa, and he's, chilling, and he's fine. I'm here. I'm in the den sitting, kind of looking at him and stuff, and he's fine. Fine. The garage door comes up about an hour later, and he starts, So Dad and sister come home, and then there's 3 of us watching him, and he decided it was time to crank it up a notch. He has the man skills of groaning. He laid on that sofa for the rest of Saturday and just let us wait on him, bless his heart. I'd have done the same thing. And just every once in a while would throw out a little for good measure. So there is that. Praise. Because we got to have praise with prayer, don't we? Yes, we do. And we're just going to be thankful and praise God for all of his blessings this week. I got to go up to Brick City last week and stitch with a fabulous group of stitchers on Wednesday, and my dear sweet friend Stitchy Linda. And I just want to shout out praises to all of them for making me feel so welcome, for having such an amazing, fun, laughter-filled day. So thank you for that. But again, let's just praise God for all of his blessings this week, because they're, with the sunshine's got to come a little rain. So let's get on with it today. I'm flying with no notes again. I'm telling you, this month has gotten away from me. It has. I have no FFOs because I said I was not going to FFO in May. I was just going to do my Stitch Mania and spin my wheel and stitch, and then worry about FFOs in June. So let's see. I have a finish because yesterday I spun the wheel for today and Wednesday and came up with Americana Red, which I just had a little bit to do, but I'd put it down because of my scissor faux pas. But I ironed, but I'm not even mounting them on boards. And she's done. And I'm not going to move the scissors. And hold on. The scissors I'm talking about are right here. And they're up a little bit. But you know what? The more I look at this, the more I feel like I can see it. And they're not supposed to be, I think maybe just a stitch or 2 down. I've seen other people's. Jess Como Stitches finished hers and did a beautiful tribute initials for her niece who lost her husband 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to leave them as is. But I have a finish and I have a frame for it. So this is my 3rd finish for Mania in May. Now, granted, Emily's sampler and this didn't have a lot to go, but I finished them. So we are tickle pink with that. Then, Life is the Flower? I've continued to work on this. And I was going to put the 1996 at the end, and I was like, you know what? I want to see it. This is charted for the gold color that is in the chimney, I believe. But I decided I could have done, I was between the red or the blue. But the other sampler that I've done from Liz Matthews, the Clara Hansen, I did in all blues. So I decided to do the 1996 in blue. And I love the way it turned out. And this, I think, had maybe 1892 or something charted in, 1892. So I had a 9. And then, so I could do those two. And then I just flipped the chart over to do the 6. So what I've done since last time is I've done this. I've started the ivy and I did the top. And when I can, I'm doing a thread a day on this one. I am loving that. The one thing that I have found with my Stitch Mania pieces that I've started, my starts, is they're really hard to put down once I start. But that wasn't what Mania was about. I know I could change the rules, but I'm trying to go through a whole month with the plans that I had set forth. And let me tell you, I have learned that the middle of the month is my tipping point, because yesterday I wanted to scratch the rest of it and just stitch what I wanted to stitch. But I was like, you know what? I have always told my children that they didn't have to continue with a sport, but they had to finish that season. So I am going to do as I say for once. So my Sabbath day stitching, I did work on Mother's Day, and it's this, I know. So I don't remember the last time I showed you, but I have done some leaves. Ooh, now I know why I use my boards. I've done the leaves. I have filled in more on the top of the church, and I've got this part filled in. And then I've gone in and done little finishings. I did the whites around these little motifs. I finished up the peacock. I put in the beaks and the feet. And then I was going to start working on some sheep. And I don't have Prairie Trail, which is a classic Colorworks thread. And my local needlework shop is out of it. So, and I didn't even think about it when I went up to Brick City last week. So I need to get Prairie Trail so I can start filling in some of the sheep. What I'm trying to do so that the fill-in doesn't get... I like fill-in. It is relaxing and it does serve a purpose, but it can get monotonous. So what I'm trying to do is either do a leaf and then do some filling in the church, or I thought about doing some sheep and then doing some filling in the grass. So to finish this, I have this tree and there is a flower right here, and then I have the sheep. So I guess I'm just gonna have to buck up and order Prairie Trail online. Yeah, I know. Nobody ever buys just floss online. And then I had pulled, or the wheel had told me to work on flosstube Friends last Thursday and Friday. Thursday I was coming back from Brick City, so I did not stitch on it that night because I'm doing it, I want to say it's like a 25 count 1/1. So I did work on it a little bit Friday, but then I did put it down because this is the other Teresa Kogut that I can't put down. This is Home Sweet Home. And I did have to frog. I was one stitch off on these leaves, so to do the outline was just not going to be possible. So I had to frog these leaves and stitch them up one, which is fine. I'm not going to lie, I do have to frog quite a bit on Teresa's because some of her symbols are very close to each other. And even with Good Notes, and I even went and printed them at Office Depot. Some of the symbols are close and you'll start stitching and be like, wait a second, that's not right. That's not what happened there. I will also tell you that counting is hard because there should be about another 5 rows in between here and this section. And I don't know what I did, but this is so tight. And this is supposed to have the outline too. And this B is not supposed to be all the way up there, but I'm about 5 rows short. But no, ma'am, I'm not going to frog that. I'm not. I know it, and now you know it, and we will take it to our graves. But that one's almost done. And I just love it. I love stitching Teresa Kogut. I love it. Love her patterns. She has a new one out on her Patreon. I'm tier 2. I'm the cheapest tier to get a pattern. But I do want to stitch one of her patriotics that she put out for this month. So I've worked on that. So even gallivanting around, because y'all tell me I've been gallivanting around town, I have gotten stitching done. And I actually took this one with me to Brick City because of fill-in. And ran my mouth, but stitched a little. And then that night, I got to have a sleepover with Jody, Simply Stitching Ocala. And we stitched and just fellowshipped. And, you know, my cup runneth over. And I do realize how lucky I am that I do get to go around and visit with friends and stitch with people. It just makes my heart full. And I know that you guys all know that because I get a lot of comments about me just loving people. And I do. I do. It's just what my heart needs. It's just people. So then I decided, and I showed this the other day, and I will turn it a little bit again. I have switched out my flowers on my board from Chantel 141. I love them. Make me think of my mama. And so I'm going to go ahead and do patriotic. So Sunday I decided that I was going to stitch this up. And this is a little bit bigger size than what could fit there. So I am going to leave the quilt blocks at the top off. I've measured and remeasured. And I did show this yesterday, I think, on my floss tube a day. I got the rest of the grass filled in. I got the quilt poles. I started stitching here, and counting is hard, and I needed to go down one more. So as I got to this little part of my quilt design, I didn't have enough space, so I have to frog this. Oh, could have been done. And I don't know why frogging. I don't mind frog. I mean, I don't love, nobody lives for frogging. I don't mind it, but then, is it just me, or does it sour you to the piece for a second? And it's not even the piece's fault. It's your fault for not counting right. Mine. Counting is hard for me. We have discussed this. My son got a perfect score on his math final. He got every single question right. I have a hard time getting my name right on a standardized test, and that's no joke. So counting is hard, and then I get upset with myself. And so I put the piece down last night. But I will frog it today, fresh eyes. I've got to finish the flag and fill in the house, and then just do this little part. But I love it. And I told y'all yesterday, I was at Michael's Sunday getting the flowers for there, and the anchor, which was already on clearance to 50 cents. So I was going to get a couple just to try because I've never stitched with anchor thread. I've heard wonderful things about it. And I want to say Linda, Stitchy Linda, likes it. I think she was talking about it last week. And I've seen several of you talk about going to Michael's and buying the thread on clearance. So I got a couple to try with this. And when I went up to the register, it rang up for 25 cents a spool. A spool, y'all. So, had to pause my transaction. My husband was looking at me like, did Gavin hit his head or did you? And I ran back and just started filling my little handbasket with threads. And so I tried them. Now, somewhere in the back of my head when I started this, I remembered that somebody told me that anchors were a little thicker. But I was doing, this is an 18 count, but I was still doing 2/2 because the squares were big. And I started with the clouds, and I was like, ooh, that's thick. But then I thought, you know what? How cool is that to have a little bit of dimension? So I left my clouds 2/2 with anchor thread, and they're puffy. And then this was just a DMC that I had laying around. So it looks like the sun is behind the cloud. I had gotten my Color and Cotton monthly clubs. So this is Valor Red from Color and Cotton. I can't remember what this blue is, but it's also Color and Cotton. The black is just Black Coffee from Classic Colorworks that I had there while I was stitching another piece. Y'all, this is the first time I have ever just looked at a picture and just pulled, and there's everything on here. There's DMC, there's Anchor, there's Color and Cotton, and there's Classic Colorworks. And there's Floche, DMC Floche. The white of the window panes I did with Floche. And I did do 1/1, but it is thicker too. So look at that. It stands out, and I love it. So I am really, this is Anchor, but just 1/1. And then this was, I think this might be the only called for, which is a DMC 986. But I did 2/1 and made it a little fluffier. I know. Who am I? I am out of control. But it's been kind of fun to experiment with that one. I know that's a lot of talk on that. My start for this week was going to be Winter Garden by Liz Matthews. And when I went to work on it, I realized that I had printed out the page of the flosses and kitted up the flosses and the fabric, but not printed out the chart. And I do like to have a working chart just to compare with my GoodNotes. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but it has saved me more than once. So I'm going to get that printed out today. So instead, I have changed it. And I'm going to pause for a second to show you what I am going to do for my start this week from Liz Matthews. I kid y'all not. I am discombobulated. That's a good word. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So I decided to do one of her new releases from Market. And she has this charted in all DMC. So I'm going to start on this today. I love it. And I've actually been looking at frames around town for this one. And I had just gotten the Be Stitch Me, Not Another Sampler, 20 count Ada. Oh, I'm going to take this out of the bag and excuse the crunching. I now sometimes listen to floss tubes with earphones, so I understand. Again, Not Another Sampler. I know my light washes it out, but it is absolutely, let me try to fold it over, stunning. And the modeling is stunning. And I think I need a whole bunch more of this. Not Another Sampler by Be Stitch Me. And I think that it is going to look like, it was done on Dunes from Fiber on a Whim. But I think that that's going to be stunning. And I really wish, my light is great for stitching, not so great for showing color. Because it is a little bit darker than what it's showing up. And I'm just so excited to stitch on that. Beautiful. So, that's my plan for this week. I leave tomorrow night for the retreat in Cocoa Beach with Liz Matthews and her mom that I'm super excited about. Let's get on to haul. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Hold on, I need a drink. And a pause. I should be fired from Stitch Your Stash. But now it's in my stash. It's in my stash, y'all. So, Brick City, Jean has just walls and walls of fabric, which y'all, if you caught my floss tube a day last week, I showed. And she's also very generous about she'll put fabrics on sale. You had me at sale. So I got just this little bit, and I'll take it out of the bag. This is 32 count flax. I know. Who am I? I don't know. But it was 50% off. And it's flax. It's just a little big piece. Did I mention it's 32 count? Linen. It said sale. I didn't care what it was. This is 28 count linen. It's mead. Look at the modeling on that. Again, I hate that this gets washed out. Yep. I know. Linen. Had to grow up sometime. And what is this one? Pearl. This is pearl. 28 count linen. This has like a gray blue. Oh, it's light. And this is dried sage, 28 count linen. And I can see it ish. I'm trying to convince myself that I can. Whatever, I'll just make up lines. I can't even count on 18 count Aida without making mistakes. So, you know, some days you just got to live on the edge, people. Then I bought Eliza's Sewing Smalls because my friend Mary had sent me Eliza's French Birds. And this is just perfect to go with it. It is. And then Manny Dodonna is coming, or Simona is coming to the cross stitch cupboard at the end of this month to teach a class. And I love her stuff, but I hadn't stitched anything. And I'm going to take, and so Jean had the Seasonal Salt Box Summer by Manny Dodonna. Kathy, are you looking at this? I know. I know, people. So I'm going to stitch this. And I'm hoping it'll fit there. But if not, don't y'all worry. I have other things to put it on. And then, because you can never have enough Plum Street. And everywhere I go, I got to buy. A Gentleman's Daughter. And I have wanted to do this one since my dear sweet friend, Kim, Contented Needleworker, did hers. So, yes ma'am, I did. I bought it. A Gentleman's Daughter. Because if you do one Plum Street house, you might as well do them all. You might as well do them all. He is a gentleman and I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal. And that is just what my daughter would say. It is my daughter to a T. I should do that for her birthday stitch. Maybe I'll start that on the 8th of June and continue on with a birthday stitch for her. And then, Adorn Your Heart. Another pink house. Paulette. I don't know what, I mean, honest to goodness. The creativity in this woman is just astounding. Adorn your heart, adorn your mind with knowledge of the sweetest kind. Beautiful. Then y'all know that I love Needle Art by Wendy. And so I saw this Christmas Quaker and had to have it. I mean, it's red and green, but I think I could have it up all year. I'm going to just flip back and forth because apparently I wasn't done with Plum Street. Sewn in Friendship. From my heart to your hand. Love it. And then I've seen several people stitching on these. The blue flower. This one is the Tudor Bee. I think she has several others that I'm just going to have. But I think that this would look really, really pretty beside this. Don't y'all? I know, right? I am almost positive that she has others. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm sure some of y'all are yelling at me that y'all know she does. Then Rosewood Manor. And this was the colors. Americano. I love her flowers, but this flower ball is just delicious. Or as Stephanie says, I love it so much. Then I'm going to save some of this for, I bought, I love Tiny Modernist. I had a few pieces of hers, but I have just fallen down that rabbit hole. Her market this year was just to die for. But I had not seen these seasonal bell jars. Love them. Love them. I could do these too for the fruit salad. There's strawberries on here. And on the back, she does show you how she finished it. So I love that. And then my friend Connie, who I got to meet in person last week. I just want to talk about Connie for a second, if y'all will indulge me. I always say this. I will go stitch somewhere and am blown away by the gifts that God gives me in return. And by gifts, I mean the people that he puts in my path. Anytime I go stitch, whether it be at the LNS, whether it be at a bare bones retreat, whether it be with the designers, he just always puts such amazing people in my path for me to meet. And Connie is one of those people. Without oversharing too much, and Connie, I hope you don't mind that I do this, Connie is on a chemo journey for the next 2 years. And this is not Connie's first rodeo. Connie is one of the most positive, happy, uplifting people you will ever meet. You would never know the health battle or any battle that Connie is struggling with, because she is such a sweet, generous person. And I left the retreat at Brick City last week, and when I was driving home Thursday, I asked God to please put that in my heart, to be more like Connie, to always be positive, to always be uplifting, and to always give more of myself than I am asked to do. So Connie, thank you. Thank you for being such an amazing example of choosing joy every day. And I say all that because Connie is also a prolific stitcher, and she stitched like 5 things in a week. But she had stitched this by Sweet Wing Studio, and we all know how wonderful Sweet Wing Studio is. Pray Without Ceasing, First Theologians. And so I saw Connie's, and I met Connie, and I had to have this. I love you, Connie. And then our local LNS has several of these finished on the wall because I never got a chance to meet her. She passed away during COVID of cancer. And so she gifted our LNS where she used to stitch these pieces. And it's by the Bay Needle Art. And I've always loved the tropical feel. So Jean had several of them in her store. And so I bought Home Sweet Home. And I know that this is meant to be stitched up in one long piece. I do like it. I do like it like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. Trying to see the single home scene on 14 would just be a 3x5. I don't know. Y'all tell me, should I stitch these? I didn't buy them all, but I'm going to hunt them down. Should I stitch these singularly or should I put them all together? Y'all tell me. Y'all decide. And so I bought this one too. The two that she had there. So y'all let me know if I should stitch it as all one piece or singularly. I have resisted this for so long and I don't know why. I resisted it when Sweetwater Stitcher was working on it. I've resisted it with Chris the Camping Stitcher, with Holly. I mean, resist. Resisted with Missy. And then I bit the bullet and bought it. I did. And then last but not least, from Brick City, because I stitched my stash. Because, you know, I've gone down the Teresa Kogut. And I probably could have bought this from her Patreon site, but it was there and I had to have it. Look at that butterfly. And the birds and just everything. That border's going to be something. Anybody want to place a bet on how many times I have to frog this border? Because counting is hard. Sweet Lord in heaven. I should have read the stitch count. 353 wide by 217 high. Finish size 17 by... Not a lick of sense in this head of mine. But that's my haul. And I have been spoiled rotten again by my friends. And seriously, y'all, y'all are just, again, I am blessed beyond measure. So, my friend who lives in Boca, not that far, we need to meet soon, made this. It's not the only thing she sent me, y'all. Look at that. Mrs. Fanciful. Look at that. And the box was just chock full of goodies, and some of them are already in my purse because I never carried like an emergency cross stitch kit in my purse. But she sent me the cutest little flamingo bag, and so I immediately put a little plastic tube of needles in, and scissors, and thread gloss, and everything to carry in my purse with me. And then, again, it was chock full of goodness. A mirror that has a flamingo on it, a flamingo keychain, these little flamingo pins, and then she made me this that says Mrs. Fanciful. And y'all know I love me floss drops, and she made those for me. These are going to the retreat with me this weekend. This, like I said, this was also in there. My bag says the same thing. But this already sits behind here with the cross stitch that my friend Jess Como Stitches made for me for Christmas. And then I have a new cup that Jody, Simply Stitching Ocala. So Jody and Becca are with me. And then I have had the pleasure of chatting with Natasha, Britches Get Stitches. She's has a floss tube now too, Britches Get Stitches, so check her out. She is a beautiful, beautiful seamstress, and just a joy, and so giving. Shut the front door. Look at that, yeah. I'm going to take this to StitchCon, and I'm just letting Kathy Walker know right now that if it goes missing, And she, again, chucked it full of goodies. Look at the inside lining. Yeah, seriously, I don't deserve. I don't. And I'm not saying that falsely. I'm just a simple girl that likes to talk a lot, and nobody in her house wants to listen to her, so she decided to do flosstube. I'm nothing. And again, I don't say that to diminish myself, but the goodness that y'all just give to me, just by being you. And then I have, she is a viewer, a friend, and she's also on the Fanciful Flamingo Facebook group. And she knew I wanted to start hats, but she sent me all of these. All of these. And I'm gonna, I think this is the one that Helen D did. My 53rd birthday is coming up in September. That's when I started my floss tube for my 52nd. And so I'm just going to put this out there now. The month of September, I'm going to be doing 53 giveaways. And I'll do some here on my floss tube. The majority will be on my Facebook group because you do have to be, it's a private group just so I can keep spammers out. Although we did have a spammer. Somebody reported them. Thank you so much. I removed her and reported her to Facebook as well. Sometimes they get in, but so she said that I could keep some or give some away. And I want to share some of this goodness with y'all. I have always wanted to do one by Modern Folk Embroidery. I did send that. And then I've got, she sent me some hats that I'm so excited to do. Florence Law and Annie Bayliss. So y'all tell me if y'all have done these. So, that's pretty much it for this week. I'll do a short, my floss tube a day this evening. But I want to do a little bit of a chit chat today. This is going to be a long one today, and I apologize. And I say this all the time, my craft room is frightening. And I don't know why. I'm pretty organized in every other part of my life but the craft room. And everybody says that their craft room is the same. No, it's not. I say this every time I do a floss tube and I go to move something, that I am one jingle block away from the whole tower tumbling down. I can't even be in here anymore. I had my husband take my stitch chair out to the den. One, so I could be with the family in the evenings, because we do all like to gather around. And we've started playing games again. And we played Scrabble this weekend. And I'm an English lit major, and I lost. And not by a little. Not by a little. So I can't prove that all the words were made up that some people used. But I'm just saying. Without saying. Vincent. But this, I can't be in here. Like, I come in to get something and I have to leave. And that's just, it's stifling. It is stifling. So, if you are like me, and I'm sorry if you are, there's medication for that. I know, I take it. And you want to join me in a craft room cleanup challenge. The Great Craft Room Cleanup Challenge. I am going to keep doing a floss tube a day in June. But it's going to be, I'm going to set a 15-minute timer every day. And if I can go live, I'm even going to take it a step further. I just want you to know that the hamster on the wheel in my head just threw himself off the wheel. Like, he's screaming in my head, shut up, crazy lady. If I can do it live, I will do 15 minutes a day. We will do a specific time. And I will set a timer, and for 15 minutes, clean up every day. 15 minutes is manageable. Fly Lady has a whole thing. I think she still does have an app, but 15 minutes a day. And if y'all want to join me in that 15 minutes a day, and then every day in June, I will have a thread on the Fanciful Flamingo Facebook group. And if you will post your pictures, I will do a $50 Amazon gift card. I'll pick, because you'll already win when your craft room is more organized. But I'll do $50 Amazon gift certificate if you want to use it for organization or whatever at the end of the month. What do y'all think about that? Let me know in the comments if you want to participate. The hamster still passed out. He knocked himself out hard when he threw himself off that wheel. I know. Feel sorry for my husband, because this is how our DIY project started my house. Okay, I will go move something or do something, and something will catch my eye. And the next thing I know, I'm calling him. And it always starts with, "You're the best husband in the world, and I love you so much. Meet you at Lowe's." And then you just hear the phone drop. I know. But it'll be fun, and we'll do it together. So, the Great Craft Room Clean Up Challenge. Somebody write that in the comments so I remember what I called it. I'd also like to close by saying that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I try to be very open and forthcoming that I do have anxiety and depression. I used to say I suffer from it. I don't suffer from it. I don't. It is just part of my makeup and part of who I am. And I do take Lexapro every day. And I try to put it out there so that if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. So let's pray and praise everyone who gets up every morning and chooses joy in spite of or because of their mental health. I love you all. Thank you so much for saying that you missed the weekly. These are work to put together, but again, I get so much more out of it and from all of you. And I am blessed beyond measure. And so I choose joy, and you'll bring so much to my life. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And as I gallivant around, I hope I get to meet each and every one of you. Y'all have a great day, a great week, and let me know if you want to join me on cleaning up our craft rooms. Bye, y'all.